There is a place in the mountains where the air is so thin you can hear your own heartbeat echoing against the volcanic rock. Most people think this country is only about its past, but they are missing the most intense adventure playground on the entire continent. Rwanda is known as the land of 1,000 hills, and every single one of those hills is trying to tell you a story. If you are looking for a vacation where you just sit by a pool and sip juice, you are in the wrong place. This is a guide for the people who want to get mud on their boots and blood pumping through their veins. We are going to look at 20 incredible things you can do here that will change the way you see the world. By the time we finish, you will know exactly how to survive a jungle trek and where to find the best views in Africa. Let's start with the thing everyone talks about, but very few people actually get to experience in person. Deep in the Volcanoes National Park, there are families of mountain gorillas that share about 99% of our DNA. Getting to them is not like going to a zoo, because there are no fences and no paved paths for you to walk on. You have to wake up at dawn and meet your rangers while the mist is still hanging heavy over the trees. The hike can take 2 hours, or it can take 8 hours, depending on where the gorilla family decided to sleep. You will be hacking through thick vines and slipping on wet leaves while climbing up steep slopes at high altitudes. Your lungs will burn and your legs will shake, but then the ranger will tell you to drop your walking stick and be quiet. Suddenly, you are standing 10 feet away from a silverback that weighs 400 pounds and looks you right in the eye. It is a moment that feels like time has stopped, and it is easily one of the most powerful things a human can do. The permit for this costs $1,500, which sounds like a lot of money, because it actually is a lot. But that money goes directly into protecting these animals and paying the local people to be their guardians instead of poachers. If the gorillas are the kings of the forest, then the golden monkeys are the playful acrobats that live just below them. These monkeys are endemic to the Virunga Mountains, which means you cannot find them anywhere else on the planet. Tracking them is a bit easier on the legs than the gorillas, but it is much faster and more chaotic. They live in the bamboo forests, and they love to leap from branch to branch, right over your head. You have to be quick with your camera because they move like gold streaks of lightning through the green leaves. It is a loud and messy experience that makes you feel like you are part of the jungle family for an hour. Now, if you want to go even deeper into the wild, you need to head south to Nyungwe National Park. This is one of the oldest rainforests in Africa, and it is so thick that sunlight barely touches the ground in some spots. This is where you go to find the chimpanzees, our loudest and most energetic relatives in the animal kingdom. Chimp trekking is a total gamble because these guys love to run, and they love to stay high in the canopy. You might spend 4 hours sprinting through the bush just to keep up with their screams echoing through the valley. When you finally catch them, you will see them grooming each other, fighting, and swinging with incredible strength. It is a raw and unscripted look at nature that feels much more wild than a standard safari drive. While you are in Nyungwe, you should also look for the colobus monkeys with their flowing white hair and black bodies. They live in massive groups of up to 300 individuals, which is a sight you won't see anywhere else in Africa. Seeing 300 monkeys moving through the trees at once looks like a shifting white cloud against the dark green forest. But maybe you are the kind of person who prefers climbing mountains over chasing animals through the brush. If that is you, then Mount Basok is the challenge you have been waiting for your entire life. This is an extinct volcano that stands at over 3,700 meters tall, and the hike is a straight vertical climb. The trail is often a river of mud that will try to swallow your boots with every single step you take. The reward at the top is a massive crater lake that is often surrounded by fog, making it look like a movie set. It is cold and windy at the summit, but looking down into that green water makes every bit of the struggle worth it. If Basok sounds too easy for you, then you should try the 2-day trek up Mount Karisimbi. This is the highest peak in Rwanda, reaching over 4,500 meters into the sky. You have to camp on the side of the volcano in freezing temperatures before making the final push to the top at sunrise. The air is so thin up there that every step feels like you are lifting lead weights with your feet. On a clear day, you can see all the way across the border into the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. It is a grueling test of physical and mental strength that very few tourists actually bother to finish. For those who want a steeper challenge, Mount Muhabura is known as the guide because it stands like a lonely sentinel. It is a very sharp climb that will test the grip of your shoes and the strength of your knees. But let's say you want to go down instead of up. That is where the Musanze Caves come into play. These are giant volcanic tunnels that were formed millions of years ago by cooling lava. You put on a helmet and a headlamp and descend into the darkness to see the cathedral-like structures underground. It is silent and eerie, and you can see the marks on the walls where the hot earth once flowed like a river. After all that dust and mud in the mountains, you probably want to see some water to cool down. Lake Kivu is one of the African Great Lakes, and it is famous because it does not have any hippos or crocodiles. This makes it the perfect place for a multi-day kayaking expedition along the rocky coastline. You can paddle from the town of Rubavu all the way down to Karongi, camping on remote beaches along the way. The water is emerald green, and the hills drop straight into the lake, creating tiny hidden coves you can explore. One of the coolest things to do on the lake happens when the sun goes down and the sky turns purple. The local fishermen head out in their traditional three-hulled canoes, singing in harmony to keep their rhythm. They light bright lanterns to attract small fish called sambaza, and the lake looks like it is covered in stars. You can actually join them on their boats and help them pull in the heavy nets while they teach you their songs. It is a beautiful way to connect with the culture while doing something that is physically demanding. If you prefer standing up, you can take a paddleboard out to the middle of the lake for some peace and quiet. The water is usually as flat as a mirror in the mornings, making it easy to glide between the islands. You should definitely head over to Napoleon Island, which is named that because it is shaped like the famous hat. Once you land, you can hike to the top of the island where thousands of giant fruit bats live in the trees. When they take flight all at once, the sky turns black, and the sound of their wings is like a rushing wind. It is a bit scary, but also one of the most unique wildlife sites you will ever find in Rwanda. For the real endurance athletes out there is nothing better than the Congo-Nile Trail. This is a 227-kilometer path that runs along the divide of Africa's biggest rivers. You can hike it over 10 days, or you can rent a mountain bike and finish it in about 5 days. The trail takes you through tiny villages, coffee plantations, and over some of the steepest hills you have ever seen. You will be greeted by hundreds of kids yelling hello, and you will see how the real Rwanda lives outside the cities. It is a bumpy ride that will leave you sore, but the views of the lake from the high ridges are unbeatable. If you want a shorter ride, the twin lakes of Burera and Ruhondo offer some amazing mountain biking paths. The lakes sit at the base of the volcanoes, and the deep blue water against the dark mountains is stunning. The roads here are made of red dirt and volcanic rock, so you need to have some decent bike skills to stay upright. You can also take a guided tour through the high-altitude tea plantations that look like giant green carpets. The air there smells like fresh leaves, and you can watch the pickers working with incredible speed on the hills. Going back to the forest, Nyungwe has a feature that scares a lot of people, but offers the best view in the park. The canopy walkway is a suspension bridge that hangs 70 meters above the forest floor. It sways in the wind as you walk across it, and you can look down at the tops of trees that are hundreds of years old. It is the only way to see the birds and monkeys that never come down to the ground. If you have a fear of heights, this will be your biggest challenge, but the adrenaline rush is incredible. For a more grounded adventure, take the trail to the Ismo waterfall. The path drops deep into a misty canyon where the ferns grow larger than umbrellas. The waterfall itself is a powerful wall of white water that crashes into the rocks with a deafening roar. You will get soaked by the spray, which is actually very refreshing after a long hike in the humid jungle. If you like birds, Rwanda is a paradise with over 700 species squeezed into a tiny area. You can go looking for the great blue turako, which looks like a cartoon bird with bright blue and yellow feathers. Even if you aren't a bird expert, seeing these colorful creatures fly through the dark forest is a treat. Now, we can't talk about Africa without mentioning the big 5 animals like lions and elephants. Rwanda has Akagera National Park, which is a massive success story for wildlife conservation. Years ago, most of the animals were gone, but they have been brought back, and the park is thriving. You can go on a game drive to see lions hunting in the tall grass or rhinos hiding in the bushes. The landscape here is totally different from the rest of the country because it is flat savanna and wetlands. For a different perspective, take a boat safari on Lake Ihima to see the hippos and crocodiles. The crocodiles here are some of the biggest in Africa, and they like to sunbathe on the muddy banks. If you want to get even closer, Akagera is one of the few places where you can do a walking safari with a ranger. Walking through the grass, knowing there are lions nearby, makes your senses sharper than they have ever been. You learn how to read tracks in the dirt and how to tell which way the wind is blowing so animals don't smell you. If you have some extra money to spend, you can even take a hot air balloon over the park at sunrise. Seeing the giraffes and elephants from the air as the sun hits the water is a memory you will never forget. But adventure isn't just about animals and mountains. It is also about the people and their way of life. You can take a coffee tour where you go from the bean all the way to the cup of hot coffee in your hand. This isn't just a walk. You have to get out in the fields and help the farmers harvest the cherries. You will see the intense labor that goes into every bag of coffee that gets shipped across the world. For a really hands-on experience, you can spend a day with the Azizi Life artisans. They will take you to their village and give you a hoe so you can help them work in the fields. You will learn how to weave baskets and how to cook traditional meals over an open fire. It is hard work and your back will probably ache, but it is the best way to understand the local life. You can also try your hand at imigongo, which is a very unique type of art made from cow dung. It sounds gross, but the dung is mixed with ash to make a paste that creates beautiful geometric patterns. It is a tradition that dates back hundreds of years, and it is a very tactile and strange way to be creative. Even the capital city of Kigali has adventures if you know where to look for them. You can hike up Mount Kigali, which is more of a big hill, but it gives you a view of the whole city. At the top, there is a stable where you can go horseback riding through the forest paths. To get around the city like a local, you have to jump on the back of a moto-taxi. These guys weave through traffic and fly up the steep hills of the city with amazing skill. It is the fastest and most exciting way to see the different neighborhoods and feel the energy of the town. Before you go, you need to know about Umuganda, which happens on the last Saturday of every month. The whole country shuts down and everyone goes outside to clean the streets and fix the roads together. It is a mandatory community service that explains why Rwanda is the cleanest country in Africa. If you are there during Umuganda, don't expect to travel anywhere, but do expect to see a lot of smiling faces. The best time to visit is during the dry seasons from June to September or December to February. You will need good hiking boots, plenty of bug spray, and a rain jacket that can handle a tropical downpour. Rwanda is a place that rewards people who are willing to push themselves and try new things. It is a country that has moved forward with so much hope and energy that it is impossible not to feel it. Whether you are staring at a gorilla or biking over a mountain, you will feel alive here in a way you haven't before. If you want to see how to pack your bags for a trip like this, check our video descriptions for the best deals in hotels and accommodation, flights, attractions and tours, travel eSIMs and insurance, transfers and airport services, trains and buses, car and bike rentals, cruises, package tours.